You know that feeling, right? You get to the end of the workday. You're absolutely exhausted, like you've been sprinting all day, but you can't really point to a single big thing you finished. Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to break down a really simple but powerful strategy to get your mental energy back and honestly get more done with way less stress. Okay, let's get into it.
This quote from Todoist just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's this chaotic dance we do all day. You're trying to focus on a big report, but then, ping, an email pops up. You answer it, then ping, a Slack message. You deal with that, then you try to go back to the report and your train of thought is just gone. This happens dozens of times a day, and every single switch is just draining your battery.
And that's the big question, isn't it? It's not because you're lazy or you're not working hard. It's how we're all being forced to work. Every single time your brain has to slam on the brakes and change direction, it costs you a little bit of mental energy. Think of it like a hidden tax on your focus. And by 5 o'clock, you're mentally broke. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to get into the science of why this happens with a cool concept called attention residue. Then we'll introduce the solution, task batching. I'll show you exactly how to start, how a tool like Todoist can be your sidekick in all this, and then we'll wrap it up with a final verdict on whether it's actually worth your time. Okay, first things first, let's talk about the why. You can't really solve a problem until you understand what's actually going on under the hood. And the reason switching tasks feels so hard isn't about willpower, it's just about how our brains are built. So there's a scientific name for this exact feeling. It's called attention residue. It comes from a study by Dr. Sophie Leroy back in 2009, and it basically means that when you switch from one task to another, a little piece of your brain doesn't quite make the jump. It gets left behind, still thinking about that last thing you were doing. Here's a super simple way to think about it. Imagine you are deep in the zone, finally making progress on a project. Your phone buzzes. It's a friend asking about lunch. You fire off a quick, sounds good, and you try to get right back to work. But you're not really back, are you? Because now there's a tiny part of your brain wondering, should I get the turkey club or the BLT? That little leftover thought, that is attention residue. And here is the absolutely wild part. The actual cost of that mental lag, research shows it takes on average a full 15 to 20 minutes for your brain to get back into a deep state of focus after just one tiny interruption. Now multiply that by how many times you get pinged or distracted in a day. It's no wonder getting real deep work done feels impossible. So if attention residue is the villain of this story, then we obviously need a hero. And that hero is task batching. It's a really simple strategy that's all about working with your brain's wiring, not constantly fighting against it. So what is it exactly? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. You group similar tasks together and you do them all at once in one dedicated time block. So instead of answering emails all day long as they trickle in, you have a 20-minute email block in the morning and maybe one in the afternoon. The key word here is similar. You're letting your brain stay in the same gear for a while. And if you look at your own to-do list, you can probably see how things naturally fall into these kinds of categories. All your communication stuff takes one kind of mindset. All your admin work uses a different part of your brain. And your creative work, well, that needs total focus. The whole goal is just to stop the exhausting mental gear shifting between all these modes. Okay, so the idea makes sense, but how do you actually start doing it? Let's get into the how and build a practical system you could literally start using tomorrow. It's a simple 5-step process. First, just track your time for a week. Be honest with yourself and see where it's all going. Second, pick your batch categories. Sort simple, like 5 to 7 of them. Third, and this is huge, actually block that time out on your calendar. Fourth, stay disciplined. When you're in an admin block, you only do admin stuff. And fifth, to make it all stick, keep a later list. So when a random thought pops in your head, you just jot it down and get right back to your batch. Now look, you could absolutely do all this with a pen and paper, but a good tool can make the whole thing feel effortless. So let's take a look at how an app like Todoist is pretty much perfectly built to help you with this workflow. So remember step 2, choosing your categories? In Todoist, you just make a label for each one, like at admin or at email. And this is where the magic happens, because now you can just click on your at email label and see every single email-related task from all your different projects in one clean list. It's ready to go for your communication batch. And for step 3, blocking out time on your calendar, This is a total game changer. You can see your whole week visually and literally just drag and drop your task batches into specific time slots. This way, you can immediately see if you've overloaded your Wednesday and easily move things around to make your week feel balanced and achievable. And for step 4, staying focused, filters are going to be your best friend. You can create a saved custom view that says, hey, just show me tasks with @admin label that are due this week. Then when you start your admin block, you click one button and everything else just disappears. No distractions. It's just you and the work you need to do. So the method is solid and the tool seems like a perfect fit. But here comes the big question. Is it actually worth it? Let's break down the pros, the cons, and of course, the price. The free plan is definitely generous enough to get you started, but you'll see here that the really key features for our batching system, the unlimited filters, and that calendar layout are part of the pro plan, and that's going to cost you about $4 a month. So here's the quick breakdown. On the plus side, it's really easy to learn and it's available on pretty much any device you can think of. It's also a super credible company. The main drawback is that to really unlock the time blocking and batching system we've been talking about, you probably need to get that premium plan. But let's keep things in perspective here. This isn't some fly-by-night app. We're talking about over 30 million downloads around the world. And all those users have checked off over 2 billion tasks. That's billion with a B. And maybe the most impressive number, they've been building and improving this tool for over 18 years. This is a platform you can count on for the long haul. So there you have it. We've looked at the science of why you feel so scattered, we've laid out a clear method to fight back, and we've seen a tool that's built to make it happen. The only question left to ask yourself is, what could you actually achieve with all that newfound clarity? What big project could you finally finish if you weren't constantly fighting a battle against distractions?